Welcome back to COZSNUG, everyone.
Howdy.
Thank you.
So good to see you all. That's good. Perfect.
So what direction are we headed?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that. We've kind of gone through a list. I was wondering if we kind of wanted to come up with our own question tonight. Kind of decide together what we really are kind of interested in feeling.
I dig it.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I just now I gotta scramble a little.
Yeah, on the spot, obviously.
I mean,
But I think that's the idea.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with art. I'm already like, I know what we can do, but nope, that's too pointed. Is there any specific topic anybody wants to?
I think I could kind of narrow it down a little bit to a topic that I guess will empower our empathy for each other and ourselves. And that is kind of makes us really have to feel into our answer.
How have acts of service strengthened your gratitude?
That's beautiful.
That's a good one. I vote for that.
Well, I didn't think of it, it just sort of came out, so I think that's what it's supposed to be.
How have acts of service strengthened your gratitude?
Yeah.
It's perfect. I was just thinking about gratitude just last night. I was talking about it with my dad.
Powerful one, that. It's the first step up on every staircase.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'm gonna think about it.
First rung of every ladder.
I know what I could say. I can start if you're ready. With my last job with Visiting Angels, which are like healthcare for elderly. I don't want to limit it to elderly, but it's usually elderly.
Hospice stuff.
Has led me, like I enjoy that because I am doing acts of service, like things normal, capable adults do our whole lives, and then all of a sudden someone is stuck not being able to do little things like run errands or housekeeping or cooking or showering, bathing. And I have gained so much. Like I love that work because it's just empowered me to have so much compassion for those that do need little acts of service we take for granted. And now I've started my own business with that, and that's, my business is acts of service. And I'm so, like, never have I wanted to start a business. Every hobby or little thing I do, Ken's like, you could start a business this way, and this way, and this way. And it's like, nah, I don't want to run a business. I want to do this for me, just for fun. But this is the first time that I've ever thought, yes, this is needed, and I enjoy it. And so, yeah, we're starting a nonprofit with its acts of service, which can be so much.
And it's not a little box like landscaping or yard work or cleaning or anything. It can include all the things.
And not even just what I'm doing. Right. It's educational or giving whatever we can back.
It's expansive. It's brilliant.
And I'm just, so grateful for that opportunity. Like, I'm so excited. I'm getting ready to be just slammed busy till I can hire more people. But excited about that. Like, ready to be busy and...
Good problems to have.
Yeah.
Awesome problems to have.
So thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
I think one of the ways that acts of service really helps to strengthen gratitude is, being able to appreciate the not needing some of that service that you're giving to others. It helps you to recognize the place of comfort that you occupy relative to other people sometimes. You my wife riding a crest while they're riding a curl wave. Just hope.
I really like that because it really speaks to, somebody gives you an act of service, as you give an act of service to someone else or the same person, you're reinforcing this comfort that each other are, giving to each other and offering to make the world, make each other's conscious awareness better.
Well, reciprocation is like a magnet to consciousness. It's like a polarity. It's like the cycle, and you just it can continue to just spin and faster and grow a bigger field and become a bigger and bigger energy force. This is when people get distracted and caught up or pulled out of these cycles of building or charging energy that I feel like interrupts a lot of the distance and accomplishment that things could have. And I think the only thing that really interrupts those loops is that distraction from the gratitude. When it becomes almost a habituated or an expected thing, the gratitude sort of fades to the background, and it kind of kills a lot of projects.
Yeah, I definitely do that. Yeah, it can be really hard as you're building any kind of relationship, as you start just going through the motions. It's just like staring at like the same color wall for a long time. It starts going gray. You're just staring at it for too long. So it's just like anything else. You start appreciating it so much.
Well, if you don't move your eyes at all for long enough, everything just goes black.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's very hard to do, but it doesn't matter. You can be staring right at a light bulb. Everything will go black if you do not move your eyes at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been able to do it.
It's a fun experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Pull those forward.
One for those. Well, there. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more toward me, Lincoln, if you can. Or okay, I guess.
They're gonna be. I'll have to sit right here.
Sit
I'm in there.
here, so.
I'm gonna come over there and sit by you. This is for Bryce, Joey, and Kaylee. And then Stacy, I think, is on her way. And she's never been here before, so. Hi.
The question we thought of was how these kind of come together. Was acts of service that have strengthened your gratitude.
Cool.
Well, and also when you are the person being asked, like needed, it does give us a sense of feeling needed and wanted when we're offering those acts.
Well, it's even a sense of inclusion to a degree. That is also, I feel, a little bit lacking in the digital age.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Just a smidge?
Just a little bit. I play Fortnite, Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Skyrim. Not really. I want a life.
You want a life?
I want to do the lifing.
Really?
Not the living. Living is too droll and automatic, and I feel like that's just like kind of, you can do that and still just program through your way through things. But I want to do the lifing.
I'm with you, buddy. I'm in it. Let's do it. I thought of a thing today. It was just like this little. Has nothing to do with access. Well, it has everything to do with it, I guess. It was like 3D. And I was like, well, here's the 3Ds that'll kill your 3D real quick. Defensiveness, deceit, and letting drugs rule your life. It was like all of them. They're just so. They're all enjoyment killers. They're all COZSNUG killers. They're all
Those are
the
pretty,
thieves of joy.
Those are pretty common triad too. Like they like to intermingle.
They're best friends. Mm-hmm. They hang around and they're just nothing but in 3D and just wallowing around in the pile of the mire of suffering. Yeah.
Artificial even. And self-directed.
That's why there's no joy there. We prop up all this feigned fun. instead of where the real true enjoyment just takes off like crazy.
Right. It's like you can do coping mechanisms that are not so detaching, you know? There are other ways to go about dealing with things that's mostly ultimately what the playing with your neurosoup is coping mechanisms.
Right.
But there's definitely a lot of different ways that can be done without the drugs. And definitely any of the deceits or
Or any defensiveness. I mean, it's just so obvious, right?
Yeah.
Then we're all of a sudden like leaning into something that's a little more COZSNUG. A little more enjoyable.
It's definitely more cohesive without those things. Because, I mean, most of drug experiences are incredibly individual, and it makes it hard to integrate other people into the thing.
And even if it is social, which there's a lot, I mean, I'm not saying that any of that stuff is inherently bad. It's just an observation of the fact that it actually just kills your actual enjoyment. So it's like, oh, okay, learn from this, Ken. Learn that no amount of any of that is going to give me the amount of joy that I can get when I'm leaning into really trying to figure out how to add you to my life. That's the biggest amount of joy. You got way too much bandwidth, and all I have to do is just add, just be receptive of you instead of resistant to you, and then my life just feels so much better. I have peace of mind, and it goes right hand in hand with maximizing enjoyment.
When it's used as coping too, we're asking that one inanimate object for help rather than asking human interaction.
That is the biggest short circuit there, I feel like. Yeah. Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with it. I want to make sure I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. It's because cocoon time is valuable time where we learn how to liquefy ourselves and then be able to come out anything we want. And so, but it is by its nature a cocoon kind of an experience. An addiction itself.
It's almost there's an angle of it that's almost like being able to go do the secluded monastery monk thing without having to necessarily separate from people.
That's what any single label is.
It's very similar.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a matter of how much value does it have considering the resources you have around you with people and being able to co-create and conspire and collaborate.
Right. That's been one of
But
my...
it's all necessary.
We
need every experience.
They all play their place for sure.
Yeah.
100%. That's the big thing to understand when people get all upset about, themselves or other people's behaviors. It's like, well, what is it that they need to be doing? Should they be focusing more internal? Should they be focusing more external? Should it be more social? You can analyze it a million different ways. But ultimately, it's them to recognize what growth they're experiencing or not. And how to deviate from that course to get it into more of a growth pattern.
You guys, I just have to say this because it's just so on my mind right now. With my whole life lately, I've never had more peace of mind than I have right now. All day long during my day. Today I was all day. Bryce and Kaylee, I think, are coming in here in a second. Bryce and I and Kaylee are in this house painting. I mean, no matter what ever happened ever, I mean, things that would normally aggravate, I just have this peace of mind, and it comes from this way that I've changed my language. The words I say to myself are just so much more peaceful and agreeable and relatable and COZSNUG. I have learned that inside of myself, I don't know if you guys all know this or not, but I've been totally substance free. I used to smoke weed. I was willing to do anything. And right now I'm not saying there's anything bad with them. With any of the substances that we want to play around with, because life's one big old huge playground. But what I have learned is that most of my life I've been leaning into one addiction or another, knowing full well that I can get out of my addictions. Because I proved to myself I used to smoke 3 packs a day. Come on in, guys. I used to smoke 3 packs a day, and I showed myself, I quit cold turkey one day. And I was like, oh, well, I've got that kind of bandwidth. And no matter what I ever did, I could always like quit it. And so, but I haven't always lived that way. I've used, for example, I used cannabis for a long time. And I didn't have the clarity on this until more recently, where I haven't had any. I have no substances that I've been taking up for a little bit, and I've never been more high in my life. And I've never been more clear about the fact that I was at this little level self-sabotaging with the way I was choosing to do it. Even though I was intentionalizing it, there was a numbing or a dulling effect that kept me from the clarity that I have. And the clarity that's been coming is I can see so clearly how addiction in and of itself is the great thing that keeps us lonely. And I figured out how to cure loneliness. It's like a thing. You just learn how to become a relatable thing. Be receptive instead of resistant. And all of a sudden, you're not lonely, because every single person, every single thing you ever encounter is just an instructive thing to just start getting information from. You just have to be in beast mode or God mode or whatever you want to call it. Vibrating receptive instead of resistant. And all of a sudden, I don't have any loneliness because I don't have addiction. And so I realized that the addictions that I've played around with in the past have just been excuses and labels, the way I was doing it, to stay in my cocoon. So I could give a label and justify it. Hey, here's why I'm in my cocoon, you guys. And I would place a label on it. So it was a clinging to my individual head story, instead of leaning into the, hey, I know that I'm a me, but I'm also a we at the same time. Now I have awareness of my impact. And I just wanted to say that I have just never felt more just maximum enjoyment just being extremely high on life. This is where I want to be. It's right here with you guys. Maximizing our ability to like co-create and collaborate. Like you were saying, Lee. It's a beautiful place we got here. Thanks for joining us, Bryce. This is Bryce's first time here at COZSNUG.
How's it going, guys?
You're good. How you doing?
Bryce May is one of my dearest friends on the planet.
I wasn't sure what I was walking into, but we had a bunch of they're just like catching up on eating for the first time today and stuff. And I was like, oh, you're like live. I didn't know we were walking into. So he's playing on his tablet. She's sitting out there, and I should probably tell him to come in.
They can come in. I got chairs right there for them.
Okay.
So there's
And
nothing to be afraid of.
yeah, so I'm Bryce. How's it going, man? Lincoln?
Kelly?
Kelly? Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Sergeant today.
Oh, you give hugs. Okay. All right. And how are you doing?
Good.
It's good to see you.
Oh, good to see you.
I'm glad to hear about your guys' thing today. Brady, nice to meet you, man. And what's your name? Yeah, there we go.
Bryce, have you met Ashton yet? Have you met Ashton yet?
Ashton.
Yeah,
we've
You met Ashton.
met a couple times. Just doing the same introduction. Can I grab them real fast?
Yeah, just grab it. Just walk back in. No big
No,
deal
once
at all.
you're in, there's no getting out.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Maximum security live stream.
Hotel COZSNUG, California.
So I'll say this
Those
about
fences aren't for keeping
about
people out.
what I was just saying. I guess I would tie that to this. I used to think about acts of kindness as it pertained to either an act of kindness that I've done for somebody or an act of kindness that somebody's done for me. And I guess for the first time I'm realizing that the greatest act of kindness I've ever realized is me gifting myself exactly what I want. Like with fullness of vigor. Just maximum. I mean, what I want is to be right here, exactly right now. And I would not want to be by myself, because it's the enjoyment factor goes way higher when you're here, Kelly.
Thanks.
When you're here, Link. When you're here, Ashton. When you're here, Brady.
True.
Brandy.
True.
Bryce, Kaylee, and Joey. Stacy's supposed to be showing up. Thank you guys for being such valuable parts of my life. Kaylee and Joey.
Hello.
Thank you
We
for
were just snacking.
persisting with persistence.
Maybe sit right here.
Welcome, Joey. Welcome, Kaylee.
Hi.
This is our little COZSNUG tonight. We do it in different places, and tonight we're happen to do it right here. This is where we also meet up on Wednesday and Monday, like I was mentioning to you guys. There's right behind Ashton here. There's some sound bowls and a gong, and we play with vibrations.
Yeah.
And we.
There's some pretty cool stuff out there too, so this looks like a really cool house.
Yeah,
It's fun.
freaking way cool, man. Like, you're sitting there and I see that picture. Honestly, at first I thought you're gonna have like some cameras set up and he's got a whole thing going on. I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this. And so, but that painting out there, that like spiral one, that's pretty.
Yeah, that one was
That's
cool.
way cool.
Yeah.
So. And so, Ken, would you do me the honors of introducing
Yeah.
everybody?
So Joey and I go way back. Joey is my probation officer, right? My ankle bracelet fell off, and so I gotta have my probation officer here with me all the
You
time.
can talk, dude. You can talk.
What you're saying on camera.
They can see him.
Oh.
Yeah. And Kaylee is his beautiful mother.
Thank you.
Kaylee and Bryce are gonna have a baby sometime soon.
We are in March.
We don't know when, but in about 9 months from whenever we decide. So.
And then Bryce can be the astronaut.
Okay, Bryce, you're an astronaut today.
Oh, like from
And
earlier.
then Mommy can be the doctor.
Yeah, that is true.
Joey has been entertaining me while we've been painting this house down in Layton. He just like pretty much every other statement just catches me off guard. He's a bright mind,
Yeah,
this
he'll do
bright
that.
spot on humanity right here. He was teaching me all kinds of stuff today. He's Ashton. You and him are gonna have to. You and him are gonna have to talk about.
He's cool to
Video
talk
games
to. He
at
really
some
is.
point.
Oh yeah, he loves video games.
Dude, he ain't playing games when it comes to video games.
Hey Joey, get this. Ashton, you're looking at a world champion video game player right there. You know VR, when you use a VR headset? You know the game Echo Combat? Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Well, that game, you'll have to check it out sometime. They flew him over to the UK, across the world, and he went over there and competed and they won. So he's a world champion doing the very thing I see you doing all day long.
Yeah.
Well, and
Pretty
that
cool,
sometimes
huh?
you gotta snatch it from them so they can play outside. But
Okay.
then it's like, then what? You know, you never know, because point right there, you could be a world champion at some stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, you guys, what we were talking about tonight, so usually we get together on Thursdays and just, we call it COZSNUG, cozy and snug put together to make our welcoming connection. So not just being cozy by ourselves, but now we're being cozy, but with others. And tonight, we usually will ask like one question and then everybody just takes turns if they want to. You don't have to ever say anything if you don't want to. And you can leave anytime you want to. There's no, well, Brandy said once you're in, you're in.
Yeah, we're here till it's over. Sorry.
But tonight, the question is, do you want to read it again, Ash, or was it any act of kindness?
How have acts of service strengthened your gratitude?
So acts of service, strengthen gratitude. And then we just take turns talking and we practice actively listening to whoever's talking, and we're just trying to basically realize that we're all a bunch of equals here. No matter what skills you have, they're just different than everybody else's, and nobody's better than anybody else. We're just all different and unique. And so we
Differently
practice
focused.
seeing our equality and our folk king status or our folk queen status. So without further blah 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 from me, I was talking last. So does anybody else have any active?
Oh, you missed a couple. I mean, there's probably more though.
I don't know, there's a lot of like acts of service I've experienced in my life. Some of the most meaningful have been like food that's been made for me. Like I remember my friend AJ who came here one time for COZSNUG. We ended up staying a night one time after we had this party, and he ended up making the four or five people that were in the house. He ended up making a bunch of food and just giving like really nice, like full plate of food, different kinds of food, very nice, well made and tasty. And then I hadn't had a homemade meal in a long time, and it was like just it meant so much to me that he took the time to really just share like that, and it really inspired me to cook more and share more food. And it's like, so this is a kind of small thing, but like was just this act of service that really just meant so much to me and really did inspire change, effortless change.
That was cool. I was there for that. I was a recipient of that, and I'm very grateful for that as well.
That's what's up. It's nice to have a home cooked meal once in a while.
Oh yeah.
And when you don't, you sure notice it when you finally do.
As often as
Right.
possible, yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we need to have food bring us together on a COZSNUG night. Why are we not doing like little potluck pretty much every time we do this? Let's make that our dinner on Thursdays.
I can get with that.
Why not? I mean,
I can get with that. I'm always hungry when I get here on Thursday.
that'd be perfect. Why don't we do that for next time? Why don't we say,
Well, it's because we've been having it at our house and it's not the most copacetic for
you're right.
eating and hanging around and keeping everyone together. There's too many walls in the
What are you
middle
trying to
of
say?
everything.
You're ready to move?
Winter time doesn't help. Keeps everybody inside and
Although it doesn't really feel like wintertime this winter. Last year, we had 4 feet of snow.
fair.
Maybe it's gonna hit hard though.
Well,
In February or March. It would.
I don't think it'll be not hit at all. That would be
That'd
crazy.
be weird for how much snow we had last year.
Maybe that's what they're doing is because they they can control the weather.
That's
So maybe
true.
they're giving us like the full bandwidth, like year back to back.
Yeah, but let's be honest, okay? If they're gonna like make some clouds in the sky, they're probably just gonna be doing transport stuff like above our heads. You know what I mean? That's probably the reality of it. And then if they get too hardcore, I mean, I don't know. So then you guys have seen chemtrails, chemtrails, the difference between the two of them. I've watched, it's got to be a chemtrail, it's not a contrail. I've watched one devour the sky in like almost an hour and a half.
Yep.
One after the other. And I'm like, okay, so that's how that works. And I've been watching it since like, I think it started happening like 1997 or something like that. But just, it never used to be like that. And then all of a sudden, boom. So what if they do control the weather, man? I'll watch a good day turn to crap after a few airplanes fly by. So maybe they can, huh?
Well, China was bragging about it for their Olympics.
There's been plenty of talk about it.
Our mainstream news media was doing interviews about it in the 70s and 80s.
Huh.
Stratospheric aerosol injection. If you call it chemtrails, you're crazy. Same fucking thing.
Oh, okay.
It's part of solar radiation mitigation techniques, is what they call it.
So wait, what's the thing that?
It's called geoengineering.
Stratospheric aerosol injections,
Oh, okay.
specifically.
Yeah, well, yeah,
is
okay.
the
that's
cloud
what
seeding
you're
and
saying,
chemtrails.
injecting the sky with something.
But yeah, if you call it chemtrails, everybody's like, I don't know. what you're
Freezes, then blocks the sun, creating cold temperatures. And yeah, okay, that makes more sense. But conspiracy
talking about.
theorists. So
No, you call it stratospheric aerosol injections, you could probably find Harvard and
And type
Stanford papers on it.
go type in Google and type in like geoengineering summits and type in solar radiation mitigation techniques, and you'll find all of it.
you guys sit there and like, you guys are still pretty in tune with all that stuff.
I walked away from it all in 2019. I was just like, what good is this doing for me and my life? And
I was just you
I-
answered my question.
So I was just like, there's not going to be, there's nothing left that's going to surprise me in those realms. So why am I wasting my time trying to figure out who's doing what and where and for what purpose? It's like
2012 for me.
ultimately we can observe the things that are going on in the world, and why they're going on is really not as important as is this helping us or is it not, and what are we doing about it if it isn't, and how are we getting behind it if it is. I don't care who's behind the crap that's caused the problems. I'm more concerned with what are we doing about the problems.
Yep.
You get caught up in the name game and this person, that person, and everything. It's just more ad hominem, left versus right politics, and it's just divisive and distracting and does not serve to improve anybody's situation, except for the people who market those things and turn them into profitable competitions.
So instead of fighting those battles, we just sit here and try to find ways to become relatable to all of the above, and you can change the whole world by simple little conversations just like this.
Yeah. Well, you run into people who have participated or done some of those things, and they start to realize, wait, these people around me that I thought nothing of when I was involved in all these programs are people that I'm starting to know, and oh man, we do need to fix these things, The relatability thing is a big pivot point for a lot of people, being able to promote that.
Yes, well said, Link. Relatability.
Relatability.
We talked about that a lot today, huh, Bryce?
Yes, we did. Being relatable. It's a good word. Relatability. To me, that's like, but that's the other thing too. Even sometimes I feel like if somebody could be relatable to me, is that my ego thinking, oh, me looking down on them, thinking that you got to be relatable to me and what I'm feeling. But then I was like, you know, what if I'm not being relatable and I need to, whether I'm actually going up or whether I'm actually going down to be relatable. But who knows? But if I got to go up to be relatable, and I'm thinking, relatability, dang. I think for me personally, when I even think about being relatable, I think the whole time, because I'm not really quite sure how to like give the right answer for this. Even for myself, properly with the words, I think that me trying to be relatable most of the time is just, I feel like a lot of it's, I'm catching up on everything is just my ego. No matter how the hell I try to look at it, I apologize for swearing. I'm like, wow, it's just a spiral of something either going inner, smaller, or bigger and outer. I'm like, whoa, is the whole thing my ego trying to be relatable with anything? Is that all ego?
Can I say something about that, Bryce?
Yeah.
I would say that yes, because we can't even be having this conversation without our ego. My ego is what's talking to you right now.
Okay.
Now my ego's, right now, this very moment, I like to think of it in this way. I have my ego placed into the co-pilot seat and buckled in. So now I can, every single time my ego wants to like have some kind of inner critic commentary going on, I can just remind him real fast, hey, that's not a relatable thing. That's not how you find enjoyment in your life. Enjoyment goes up in direct proportion to how relatable we are, how much we're co-creating and collaborating with those around us. And so walking around as just an individual is an option, but I like to liken that to like being in my cocoon as an individual. And as soon as I realize that as that individual, I'm a me, but I'm also a we, I'm realizing that it's all inside of me. True strength, everything lies within. Fold it in, fold it in, fold it in. Now you realize that you're the me and the we all at the same time. Now I'm relatable because I'm aware of both. I'm aware of the fact that I'm a me talking, but I'm also channeling like collective trust that I've built. Two years ago, we went to a little yoga, whatever you call it, a little yoga festival deal. And I had no collective trust. They asked us, they took a picture of us and they said, hey, write on the bottom of your picture what some kind of an intention you have. I sat there and thought about that and I was like, well, I have no collective trust, so here we go. And I wrote it down, collective trust. And now I'm super pleased to say I have a lot of now collective trust. I have trust in every person in here at whatever level we've already built that level of trust so far. I have collective trust with so many other people now. I trust myself completely, 100%. So much so that I don't, deceit is just not a part of my life. I know that that is the immediate joy killer. I'm a me and a we all at the same time. And that's where I like to think of the crossing over the threshold into clarity, vitality, and abundance. Now you got health, wealth, and wisdom. It's like this perfect little, wow, life gets really, really good. And it's possible for every single person, no matter where we're at.
Well, and in further regards to ego, I mean, if it's part of the built-in system, to not recognize it and utilize it and you know, basically operate it from a commander's space instead of letting it run everything is to neglect it entirely, and that's to neglect a part of yourself.
So don't we need to be relatable to it by integrating it into ourselves?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind
I
of
mean,
That's a great question.
it's how I
So to me that came out in a little bit of a different way. Like, so do we have to integrate it into like a part of us? So And I do, and I like, and it's for the first time, you've said that to me a few more times, I'm just usually distracted while we're in the car and stuff like that. I get distracted. I'm always looking at the road. I'm distracted while we're driving. And yeah, I guess I can see myself right here thinking, okay, so I'm going to put any part of me that can have any judgment towards anything, especially if I see some crazy shit even. But put that side of me over here and then just kind of cope. But then at the same time, for me, I'm like, but then where's my, then I feel like there's a lack of, like spontaneousness and just my personality. I feel like when I do that, I put him over there too. A lot of the time, sometimes. And that's my favorite part of me. And so like, that's where I really struggle on doing that. And I'm forgetful. So it's like, you know, I'm doing this today and I gotta like, for me to like, I gotta do it 1,000 times, I feel like, to get the hold of something, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I feel like, yeah, I just throw myself over in that passenger seat, and maybe it's me sitting in the passenger seat, maybe someone else is driving.
It's as long as it's an awareness that no matter who it is, you realize that it's all part of you. So you're connected to all of it. So you, the bigger part of you, in my observation of my own self, I'm everything. I gotta see my full bigness in order to see the value of the details of being here and being a me, but moving in a way to where I'm leaving a wake of gladness and not sadness. I'm constantly trying to self-care instead of self-tear. Now, all I'm doing is saying, all right, I see these projection bubbles that are coming out of my eyes, and everything I see is just based on my beliefs, what I currently believe. If I want to change my life, I just have to change my beliefs. Well, your beliefs can get to the point where, in my experience, you just turn the light right back on yourself. Now I'm going to talk accountably. I mean, the light illuminates every ounce of the darkness inside of me. There's no corner that's not illuminated. The light effortlessly, instantaneously illuminates and transmutes all that stuff that we've been holding fixed. And, you know, we stuff this stuff in these dark corners of ourselves, suppressing our shadow, suppressing this dark side of ourselves, but it's in there. Admit it. Acknowledge it, face it, illuminate it. Now, what do you want to do with it? Now you become more fluid, and those edges aren't scary anymore. They're just like, oh, those demons inside of me, that's part of me. I gotta love those things all the way to myself. And you got more power than every single thing that ever calls itself a demon and faces you. We're the ones who are just saying, I've got these demons, and so now what? Love it all, kiss them on the forehead, bring them to you. You're in control of all of them.
Do you guys remember those strings? Like those, they were lights, but they had a bunch of strings like puffing out at the top.
Yes.
And so the light, I was thinking about it. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I was like, well, what if our pores? So what if light's shining on us and it's just like that all the way out through our body?
Kind of the opposite direction.
No.
What science suggests is that a piece of DNA in a dark room with a laser shot simply past it will soak up that light and pull it out of an active, coherent beam. So DNA actually absorbs light.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, it's just like any pore, even like just lights, like we're just bright light is what I'm getting. It just sucks it in from every direction. Because if you were to take something like that and stick it within light range, it'd pop through one end and out the other, even though it's like, but like we're like just one big version of that with so many smaller versions running through us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the light is inside, and then we can fractalize ourselves off and spread light in any direction we want to.
On the outside, on the inside, there's light coming from every direction. So it's like, really, we don't escape it. So
once you start stacking DNA up like we have for these flesh suits, yeah, absolutely. So it'll just refracting off of itself. If the eyes were a little bit more, I don't know, what would you say, up-to-date, modern, later version, we could probably see these things easier.
up to date. Now, when you say up to date, do you mean that something's been stopping us from evolving?
Humanity itself, man.
With dog eat dog, 3D,
we've
violence.
been hung up on our defensiveness, deceit, and addictions.
Yeah. You know, things we drink, just water, in general. Some of it, supposedly with all the, what is it, fluoride?
Among other
Just
things.
things like that, supposedly, like, there's a lot of things about, like, fluoride and things that are in water that actually are known to, like, stop us from thinking on a spiritual level. Like, they show
Who was it that was just telling me that folic acid is 40% of the population is actually like. Who was just telling me this? That was like today or yesterday. Maybe well, I didn't. Maybe I didn't. I thought it was you, Bryce. Maybe it wasn't. Folic acid is one of those things. It was Ragnar. He said that in bread, when people are eating white bread, if you're not making your own bread, then you're getting all this folic acid, and the folic acid itself is our bodies, 40% of the population is.
bread too, yeah. It's an actual thing, for real.
I was about to say spina bifida. Without folic acid, you get spina bifida
Right.
in children.
When you're pregnant, you need more folic acid.
Yeah.
So.
So that sounds like some TikTok disinformation type stuff to me.
Could be. It very easily could be.
Because I know we need folic acid. Like that is why they put it in everything. Is because we need it. It's one of those essential things we can't get unless we have it in our diet type of thing. It's not ones we produce in our body.
Yeah, but it's also the type of thing that in food additives is maybe something similar to the fluoride that they're putting in water. It's not
it's
even the
possible.
same stuff that has ever been recommended by any dentist anywhere for teeth. Because hydrofluorosilicylic acid is not the same thing.
Right. Well, it's like fluoride.
Sodium fluoride.
Fluoride isn't even the same thing either, but that's in nature and it's in water too.
Fluoride?
Fluoride, yeah. So yeah, it's interesting.
I think it was things that stick. Something that, like, when you're taking certain things, and I mean that's, you'd imagine where's its origin, where would it come from? So, but certain things that, like, stick to, like, your nervous system, or like things that just, like, block off certain senses in your body and stuff like that. It's.
Acetaminophen has been shown to create docile behavior. Fluoride also in the brain, or fluoridation, calcification in the brain will also do that. There's definitely a lot of like material things that we ingest that promote that, and then in addition to a lot of the advertising and marketing and propaganda and to the extent of even psyops at times that really are to pacify, divide, and create fear, because nobody can get anything done from those places. And nobody can get anything done from those places. Well, it doesn't really matter what they're doing. It keeps them manageable, and it's like, keeping people agriculturally manageable.
Yeah,
And you asked earlier, like, when did we? I don't want to say wake up, but that's the only word that's coming to mind. For me, it's 2012, and back then I kind of realized that most everything I was seeing on the internet, even back then, was geared towards trying to keep me in some kind of state of fear. And once I broke free from that, my life 180'd. Things just got better. It's around a little bit about myself. I was a sovereign citizen. My dad turned me into one at the age of 14. I'm 36 now. I was in it for 10 years. And that's around the time I broke free from that as well. So maybe there's something to do with that too. But if it's kind of like what Lincoln said. If it doesn't suit my end goals on what I'm trying to do and with my life and my capabilities and my reality tunnel, I don't really like. It's not that I don't care. It's I take kind of like a stoicism approach. Is I can't control it, so why should I give my energy to it? I can acknowledge that it's there, but if it's out of my control, what sense is there in wasting the energy toward trying to control that when it's out of my control?
Yeah, well said, Kelly.
Is how I kind of take an approach.
Also well said. And then you said, like I said, and I could be corrected if I'm wrong, because I believe you can go back over this. So I might have short-term memory loss, but you said, as I was saying, what do we do to wake up? I didn't say anything about waking up.
Well,
But I
that's just my own-
did say it without saying it out loud. And I said it pretty clear and loud in my head. So you're like, I didn't say it out loud, did I? And then you say it like that, and I was like, huh. Because that's literally what I said. And so I was like, oh, okay. I'm not sure I said that out loud, but, correct me if I'm wrong.
You didn't. That's the only word that was coming to mind.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but,
We definitely try to create a wavelength that's encouraging of
I liked the
these
yeah,
things.
and the tunnel thing you were saying that also reminds me of those lights. What if we're all just one strand of light and we're supposed to be going towards the direction that we're popping out at, let alone with our bodies, you know, and we're gonna ride that tunnel of what we're trying to do, what we're supposed to be doing or creating. With when I think we plan on what we do before we come here, it's my beliefs. So I think like we're just trying to find out how to get back to what we originally planned to do in the first place.
Well, one of the recurring advices and things of the last couple of years for me has been don't get lost in the weeds and don't get lost in the minutia.
Are those like you're speaking like
It's the same thing, you know. Don't get
lost
caught
in the
up. Don't get
brush.
caught up
Right,
so
yeah.
much into the details of the whatever that you lose track of your main objective and focus. And
See the
and
forest, see the
direction.
forest through the trees, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
hard thing is my objectives. I feel like they changed a lot. You guys
Getting caught up in the details is like a way of saying it's like we are lacking intentionality in our lives right then. We're like letting life happen to us,
Just lacking
getting
focus.
caught up in the details of the things happening rather than saying, hey, here's all the stuff I've got right in front of me. What do I want to manifest with all this? What do I want to intention?
Well,
And
I
when
mean-
we're doing it together with others, it becomes way easier, and all of a sudden we are starting to read each other's minds. Ashley and I have it happen like a lot, or sometimes when we're together, sometimes when we're not together, it's like we're on the same exact wavelength. I mean, it's like we have a lot of cool experiences that
You
happen
also
like that.
need the details to figure out what your intention is if you're still looking for.
But we're not caught up in
You have to
it.
do
We're
this, have
simply
to do
wanting
self-reflecting to
them.
decide if you're on the right track still or not. If it's
Then
been
we
too
like our
long.
detailed life. We
You're
like
too
the
stray.
details of, like today in our painting. I'm approaching my painting different than I ever have before in my whole entire life because I just have more of a care for all of the above. I'm doing this for a reason. What are the reasons? Well, it has such a big impact everywhere. I'm more aware of that impact, so I care about the quality, right? So we're trying to do a really good job. Quality's over speed because we care. And now
Yeah.
that we're intentioning, when we do it together, all of a sudden we walk away from a project with like this feeling of like, it's like bigger than satisfaction. It's like, this is how you enjoy life. We're not working, we're playing. We're on the playground at that point, right?
Well, you say your goals change, your direction changes a lot, and it does it really change that much? Maybe at the specific level, but on the broader sense, like I said, 2019 when I decided to walk away from everything, I bought a brand new car, quit my job, stopped paying attention to anything mainstream or internet at all, and just says, you know what, I'm going back to Oregon, and I'm not worried about anything. Let's do this. Take me where I'm supposed to go. Show me what I'm supposed to do. Bring me the people that I'm supposed to help or learn from. And everything else sub to that has been still based on that one singular broad scope that has served me stupidly well.
Bryce, I'll attest to that. As a matter of fact, I want to say one thing about what Link
I felt
just said.
that. I felt that.
When I very first met Link, the very first time I met Link, I asked him what his why was. And I've been asking this question for years because I did it professionally. And I asked him his why, and almost never did I ever hear somebody say a why. They always say a how or a what. And most of the time really confidently. Well, he looked straight at me and said, well, I just believe that every single human needs to be approached with healing intent. Every single human interaction, just approach it with healing intent. I was like, that's a why. I love you. And we just embraced, and he's rubbed on my back, and I rubbed on his for a while, and I was like, oh, you're in my life, buddy.
And then it took a few months to catch up again.
I like it.
Well, it's either that or that.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was doing. I had mine. I think it was like around here, and I'd do that. I couldn't ever get that many around it. I'm not gonna lie. One, and then maybe two.
This has been going for a little while. Needs a trim. Starting to fray too much to grow anymore.
And you just let the hair grow out. Let your hair grow out, man. Might as well. You got hair.
I can't remember the last time I did
Oh, there's
anything.
not. Oh, I don't know.
I have a yarmulke going right here.
Yeah, I'm starting to overhatted. Overhatted is what I call that.
It is overhatting.
Like when your hair's really fine, like that's all it takes. Just wear a hat a little bit, and that stuff just poofs into nothing.
So you wear hats a lot?
Too much.
Oh, okay.
I love hats though.
What about beanies? Is that gonna do the same thing?
I mean, a little bit less, just because they're not actually, but around the, they're a little more.
But I think there's something about like sunlight and airflow.
That too. Yeah.
And you're not as touching, like when I'm playing with my hair and doing this kind of stuff, and I just feel like there's
Stimulating your
everything's,
scalp.
yeah, the stimulation of it all. You're giving, think about all that's coming out of your fingertips. You know this, right? If you give that all that attention right here, it just is different than when you're just capping it off and you just like out of sight, out of mind, don't think about that hair.
So you're gonna keep wearing a hat?
Yeah, I take pretty
Night.
I take pretty good care of my hair.
Trying to get me to not wear a hat. You know?
Yes, always.
Yeah, little bit of an hat addict, yeah.
I'm a hat addict for sure.
There's so many fun hats.
That's a good.
I wear normal hats, don't get me wrong, but I mean, got a whole bunch of really weird hats that are way more fun to wear.
So I love hats. I love beanies, just whatever. I love them all. And then wearing beanies with long hair. I like it. Keeps it out of my face. Otherwise I gotta
Yep.
put it up or something. And my mom makes fun of me. She says something about man bun
That is definitely
or a
worse
rat
than-
tail. And I get made fun of, but it's cool. I like my hair. I want to cut it, but I'm gonna miss it if I do.
Yeah, you looked at me today and said I'm shaving it all
I said I'm
off.
shaving my
And now you're
face.
just
I
sitting
told her
here
that
saying how
today. I
much
said I'm
you
gonna
love
shave
it.
my face, and I said I'm gonna shave my hair.
Wait
If
till
I shave my hair,
wait till April.
Yeah.
It's too cold for that crap.
yeah, I thought about that too. I was like, maybe I'll wait till the summer.
Yeah, it's pretty hair.
The thing with hair,
Thanks,
it
man.
always grows back.
Until
It's
it
not
doesn't.
forever.
Until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't. Yeah.
Until that is
Yeah.
Like the hat. Say Rick and Morty. Yeah, it's a great show. Just fantastic. Like what a awesome little 30-minute entertainment session. Every time they have a new one or whatever, or just even the old ones. It's all good.
Brady's got a bunch of other ones that are similar. Other types of cartoons like that that are
Yeah, he loves
very
animation.
entertaining.
Some.
And many of the other things too.
We can all agree DBZ is probably the best though. Probably Dragon Ball. That's
Fuck
probably-
yes.
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball.
All day. Dragon Ball is probably the dopest out of anyone they could have ever made. So.
Okay, I have to watch because I mean, so
You need to watch it.
Is Goku part of
Oh,
Dragon
yeah.
Ball Z?
Yes.
Dude,
Joey-
Goku's
Joey's
jacket.
sweatshirt.
Goku
Yeah.
is Dragon Ball Z. He's
Yeah.
Dragon Ball, dude. He's
Dragon Ball
and
Dragon
to even
Ball Z
rip
is
him off
some-
by making his son just randomly stronger at times. Get out of here with that, man. Goku freaking he works hard, dude. I mean, like,
Goku's stronger than Superman, and it's been proven.
dude. Superman ain't shit. Sorry, not compared to Goku. The difference between the characters and their life. I mean, like, I love Superman though. I'm not gonna lie. I like them all. But Goku's pretty cheap. I'm like, Joe, you want like play fight? He's like, yeah. I'm like, who you gonna be? Goku, right off the bat. I'm like, oh, that's cheap. You know what I mean? Just goes cheap right off the bat.
Yeah.
But
I like Dragon Ball better because it's more comedy, centered on comedy and actual fighting. Where Dragon Ball Z is just power ups. But I love it all. Like I grew up to
Animation
DBZ.
and epileptic-inducing flashes.
Yeah, I grew up to DBZ, so like it has a place in my heart. But I prefer Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball's, it's like, yo, funny comedy Master Roshi, like huge perv, just funny guy. It's great, but then fighting. Dragon Ball Z is like you're waiting 20 minutes while they power up to fight each other.
And so there's Dragon Ball and then
Episode's
Dragon
over.
Ball Z.
And then
Yeah, it
Dragon
keeps
Ball Super, but there's also Dragon Ball GT, but that's there's a bunch of them.
Isn't there a couple more in there?
It's probably slightly more excessive than Pokemon and all the different Pokemon.
No, Pokemon's way more in the DBZ, my
Is it?
man. Yeah,
Okay.
like 10 times more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And Joey has on Pikachu. Isn't that
Yeah,
That's
he likes all that
Pokemon.
stuff.
that's
He's
Pokemon that he
yeah.
has on his attire?
Oh, that's Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I feel
Dragon
bad
Ball
because
Z.
I can't.
no,
get into it.
his pajamas that he has on right now.
Oh,
Yeah, he has Pikachu pajamas on.
I thought he was wearing his hoodie.
No.
That's got Goku on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all the stuff he
Go.
likes.
So what I'm rocking out to right now, not that anybody cares, but PlayStation 2, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2. It's
yeah.
literally the dopest Dragon Ball Z game I've ever played in my life, dude. And you're just like, I've had that game destroy one of my old TVs.
Bryce,
Like,
will you introduce me to that?
crazy awesome, dude.
Going back to
I will.
PlayStation 2, just give me Tenchu. Leave me alone.
Yeah. What's on?
Tenchu.
Tenchu. Tenchu, is that like a Japanese game?
It's definitely a ninja game that is not about like loud or flashy or bright or anything except for trying not to be detected.
So it's
Oh,
kind
okay.
of like Metal Gear
It's
Solid.
like
but
Splinter
ninjas.
Cell, but ninja style.
Yeah, traditional Japanese settings and stuff. You can get into sword fights, but if a second person comes in, then you are smarter just to hit a rooftop and
Take them out.
or re-stealth before you keep trying.
I haven't had a real video game experience, if that's what you want to call it, since I was young, pretty much. Like, and Ashton, maybe like 3 weeks ago or something like that, introduces me to this game called Into the Radius. VR, snugs up this headset on me perfect, gets my vision just perfect with it, and take all this time setting up, and all of a sudden I'm like, what the? It's like, what? I don't know how to put it all into words yet, but
Starting to get those things tuned in, right?
oh my. Wait till you play that one. If you haven't played Into the Radius yet, it blew my mind.
That's pretty cool game.
What I was learning about myself every instant. It's cool.
Sounds like one worth checking.
That's what actually one of the most interesting things. Like I never thought of as active service when I was younger, but like when people have really shared interesting media, interesting content, or information that they enjoy bringing into their awareness in their lives, like that expansion of your own horizons, I think can be so powerful. Like I had people in this room really show me genres of interests and hobbies and things to look into. And it's like, I had a friend one time, he showed me some new sound, some new song that I had new type of genre I had never heard before. And it was the first time, I just been open to just really new kind of stuff like that. That was this moment where I started seeing just the absolute beauty of how much of an act of service it is just to, you're in a group of people and, it's quiet, you put on a good song you love, and then 3 other people are going to do the same thing, and you just end up co-creating more and more just by enjoying your own present moment more with other people.
It's fun to do that too on a more background level where everybody's at a party, so engaged and involved, and nobody's keeping up on the music. Man, just take that whole thing over and just you can set a whole list to kind of direct the whole flow of the night.
Been there, done that.
And that's
Yes.
a lot of fun, and usually garners a lot of appreciation by the end.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I will continue to plaster that group on Signal with random things.
Yeah, you could. Eventually, you're gonna keep casting out different things, and eventually it's gonna catch one person. They're gonna go like a whole essay.
And if you start to find things that don't quite fit in any of the group chats, just make another one. I'm with it.
Yeah, it's just being curated. It's just curating
Yeah.
content, putting it all in one little spot, and at some point I'm gonna be able to go back and look at all that stuff and like flow through it and have, oh man, I got a couple hours right now. Why don't I just go through all that? I want to go through every single one of those. I'm just like right now, got the bandwidth, doing other things.
Yeah, I need to go through Metamorphosis that Alex put on there from Kafka.
It's a weird book.
Of course, it's from Kafka.
Yeah. That one I probably just need to reread. That was very young and probably missed a lot of the whole.
Yep. Well, I guess that's an act of service that I've done that I can get some gratitude for. Is providing you the different
Yes.
perspectives that I have.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
thank you, Kelly.
I'm very
Very
thankful for all
grateful.
the perspectives you
Freaking.
shared.
Well, if we're all just compartmentalized schizophrenic versus of source self-discovery, then the more unique the experience and perspective that you can bring and share, the more potential value that has for people to be able to expand upon and grow from.
Indeed.
And your sir's unique experience.
It's nice to know that we can get that schizophrenia under control.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, it's like the ego thing. Well, once you realize, this is just kind of a part of the thing that we are, then let's start using that to our advantage, man. Like, who do I want to be today? What do I have to wear to feel like that so that I can play that role to its fullest and accomplish the things that that person would accomplish. You can totally schizo yourself into productive means.
Yeah.
This is not a hard thing to do.
Very well
It just
said,
takes
yeah.
practice. Just ask the D&D groups.
Yeah,
Just gotta practice.
It's,
Yeah.
I mean,
you're not wrong.
ask them. What have you learned from D&D that has helped you in the real world? Not a single one of them is not going to have anything to say.
Right.
About what you're saying,
D&D Dungeons and Dragons.
DND. For a second,
yeah.
I thought you were saying DMT. I was like, huh.
Well, I mean that's no,
That's another conversation.
But just role playing games in general. The Vampire
Yeah.
the Masquerade series, Call of
D&D, Dungeons and
Call of
Dragons.
Cthulhu, like all these role playing things are just models from which to be able to learn different styles of interaction with other people, other things, other consciousnesses, even if creating entirely other beings with which to interact from the game master side of things.
Yeah.
It's a very broad exercise in unique perspectives and unique learning methods.
In every act on stage.
Yeah,
I see
and
that.
so it's like, but you don't really need the game to do that. You can just do that because you feel like it every morning, just go.
guys are doing it right now.
That's why I love hats.
Like Ark, have you guys played that Ark? It's Ark.
Yeah, Arc Evolved.
Like kind of like Ark in a way, but like creating your own worlds and stuff like that. And then it's like, I kind of feel like, so it's something I've had to think about. I feel like that's kind of like what we did with the world before we decided to show up here. We kind of like, it was like Ark. We just kind of created it, how it was going to be. And I've thought like that for a long time. My brother played Ark, I didn't really play it, but I was like, thinking about his game, I'm like, kind of thought like,
correlates on some
we
level.
put things together before we like show up, usually, you know what I mean, or come to live in the house, I guess we should say. Go and painting the walls, whatever.
Aston, I'm surprised Aston hasn't spoken up over here. Aston's got some of the most fascinating brain that I have ever talked to about gaming, game theory, like the whole, like where humanity's come from and where we are, how gaming got started.
Game
where it's come
consciousness
to.
integration.
Yeah, I think gaming is one of the coolest art forms, honestly, because it's because like coding in general is, I think, so powerful because it's like anything you can think of, you can probably figure out a way to put it together in this 3D or whatever kind of environment you can imagine. And you can do that with so many art forms too, but I love the digital aspect because it's just there's so much there's a lot of different variations and there's a million different subgenres of art you can do within the digital format. So
It's got the broadest interactability of almost any format.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I love immersion. It's a big thing for me for gaming. I think one of the reasons I play a game like Counter-Strike because I think it really gets my heart racing. And I love that because when you get so immersed into a game that even though you're sitting in a chair, your heart's racing. You're playing a VR game. That's your real immersion where you really say you look at something big and you feel a sense of scale.
First place to start with any game, headphones.
Headphones, that's true. Audio quality is really where.
Well, audio quality and environmental, ambience and stuff. Like, I can play Resident Evil all day long, I put in a pair of headphones and it's only 5 minutes for me about jumping out the chair. Even though I played the game a whole bunch, you already know what's going on.
That's how I am with Doom.
Headphones.
Yeah.
Headphones.
The VR takes it to a whole.
Yeah, that's a whole. That's.
Now you got headphones and your visual, your whole body's feeling it just as if your eyes are seeing it.
Well, yeah, at that point you've excluded almost all the perceptual environment. So yeah, that's what it's designed for. The Lugers are a little bit more VR oriented.
I don't know, that VR makes me feel like heavily intoxicated. Like the second I put it on, I feel like I'm just like extremely fucked up. I can't even walk. Like I can't like correlate the game and the head. I don't know, it messes with me. It really does.
I know that feeling, Kaylee. I do, because the very first time I ever put on one, it was that same exact thing. It was like I came to the edge of the thing and I was going to walk. I felt like I was going to fall off a cliff. I was like,
it'll make
like,
your stomach turn. Like I can't handle it.
It's different though. My bandwidth is different though. Even though it's just times past, I would be curious to see what it was like if you turned on that Into the Radius because it's so realistic and it's so like all you have to do is like. Well, I'm still just an absolute baby because I had it on for just a few seconds.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious to see if it was different for you now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always down to try it. I have played a couple like different games on it, and every single one, there's one game that his nephew has where it's like drums. And you're just standing there and you're like hitting keys with the drums, and even that makes me stand there and I'm like, whoa, like I got the spins just from the game. So I don't know.
Those games are
I don't
cool.
know what it is though. And maybe it's because my eyes get so focused that like it feels like I'm going cross-eyed almost.
A little too close.
It's like I can't handle it right there.
Sometimes looking cross-eyed is the only way to see things.
Also,
Also,
that's another conversation, Bryce.
and the other thing is like that's this world, man, in my opinion. So like we're like just some game of Ark. There's giant freaking petrified trees all over the world, the sizes of mountains, man. They're digging up bones from giants. Like, weren't we just like some? And now we're just like the wind down. Maybe he just like maybe he's not moving his mouse right now, and it's just like, and he's just like the screen, just like the game's just playing itself right now. Like there's no crazy stuff going around, dinosaurs, giants, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Away from
What
keyboard.
if we're in a giant?
He's coming back from a snack here in a few minutes. So
Yeah, because the evidence of things like that, it's there. You know what I mean? So
Is this your opinion of the world or your perception of the world?
it's something, not my perception. It's just another idea that I throw around with all 5 of my.
Your
What would you
playground.
say that? I got like 50. What would that make me? So we're talking about 15 different versions of myself. Just well, this is how we're feeling today, right? So this is how the world is. Now we're living in a world of video games.
That's that role.
The role you were talking about. I'm like, well, then I'm seeing different evidence of other things. I'm like thinking about how that and tied to what's going on around us. So it's not like I'm living that role, but like that's what I'm thinking about that day. I'm like, that's a trip.
That's the role you're collaborating with.
It's like with these mountains, they look fabricated. You know what I mean?
A lot of you get
They
up some
do.
of these
They look
canyons.
straight fabricated. I'm like, huh?
You get up some of these canyons and look real close along the highways, and that is spray on concrete.
Oh, not even the spray on concrete. Not even the fake waterfall in the 12th
Yeah.
Street Canyon. The hot springs are the most natural thing besides the canyon itself. There, the waterfall's fake. The lake up the street, it's a dam. You know what I mean? But just the way that the mountains are. And sometimes when you look at it from a certain angle, like we're looking at paint today, different versions of the walls and stuff, you can see like what looks like. Just with mountains I've seen, it's like looks like writing. I'm like, this is tripping me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He would love it out there.
Yeah, and I love things like that, and I love petroglyphs, and it's amazing. It's almost like it's freaking everything's fabricated. I'm like,
Bryce, have you ever
so
seen?
4 corners.
Been looking at the mountains and
like
started.
4 corners.
Have you ever been looking at the
Hit
mountains?
north. Let's go.
Yeah, sorry, Ken. What?
Have you ever been looking at the mountains and seen them being formed in fast motion and in slow motion?
I'll tell you what I've experienced, so I've experienced the mountain vibrating so fast, and I thought to myself, this mountain hasn't always been here. And then I was watching it like that window we had to get open today. It was like that, just going, dude. It was going. It was like I was like, is this thing about to disappear? I could see through it, and I was like, it's about to disappear. And then like I was like, no, it can't disappear. It's got to stay there. And then everything slowed down. And I was like, whoa, what if that's how a mountain gets there? What just downloaded that mountain to be there? And I was thinking like before and after, and I'm like, it's just weird the ways you like experiences that I personally had just like walking through the wilderness is usually out late at night in the mountains, things like that. The stars, the moon shining over the entire mountain. So like you're just on a journey, you know what I mean? And just in the summer, just like things like that. And that's when I've experienced just how beautiful and strange the world really is. And so there's really no way to label it. It's just that everything is whatever we want it to be. I believe. Yeah, I'm not wrong.
Hey Ash, should we shut down? Are we done?
Yeah,
About-
no, we're just waiting for a good time to just really slow us down.
We decided that end times are not really appropriate for COZSNUG.
Oh wait, are we talking about end time?
So to touch on the programming,
You can start to work that way, but
I'm with you on that because
No,
when I made my C++ RPG, I'm still working on it, but
there's the live stream cut out, right?
Oh right, yeah.
it
And then
Thank you.
if you too, Matt. You haven't met, have you? Be right back, guys.
I'm trying to put it in words, like just, it's fun to create in that kind of a thing because like you said, you can create anything. It's like if you learn a little bit of hardware and electricity, then you can start applying all of that and build whatever you want in the physical world if you just get a little bit of the know-how. So yeah, I dig it.
Conductive hydrofluids.
Anyone else have anything you want to say before we get down to last stream?
I don't think so, not me.
I love Thursdays.
I like Thursdays too. I love you all. Thank you.
Love you too.
Thank you so much for doing this tonight.
Yeah, thanks for letting us
Thanks for
come.
having us, and everybody, show
Thank,
love towards one another. That's all I gotta say tonight.
thank you for your contribution, both the giving and the receiving side of that.
Much appreciated.
Agreed.
Thank you for bringing your energy.
Yeah, thank
Very
you.
much.
Is this your house?
This is my dad's house.
I love this house. It's really nice. We came here before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the same house. I'm not from around here, so when I go places in the dark, I don't remember them very well, but
Confused because all North Ogden seems similar.
yeah, I'm just not used to it.
There's a
So.
little bit of a little houses on the
Yeah.
hillside stuff.
But I love this house. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
yeah, it's super cool.
I was thinking, real quick, would it be a thing to, what if we get a yoga instructor to come and do a yoga class and yoga session?
You should come Wednesdays. We do it.
You do that Wednesdays.
Energy work kind of class.
It's not yoga orthodox, I wouldn't call it, but,
Yeah, I
but it
wouldn't call
definitely integrates a lot of that into some other things.
Yeah. I'm not sure what to call it in that regard. We call it fluid.
Okay.
It's a movement class.
Syncretic fluidism. Because like syncreticism, I think is what's called. Maybe I'm using the wrong term, but like synthesis. You're synthesizing different things together. I like fluids.
Cool. Yeah.
I'll have to come one of these days.
Yeah. It's getting a lot better. I think. It's all things I have done around. I think I might not be around next week. But we're gonna see.
Well,
Because next week
if it's
is
not, we might have
Thanksgiving.
to start delegating that one out
Yeah.
to keep it consistent.
Yeah.
Do we hit the dawn now?
Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah, let's whack the gong and then we'll call it good.
Right. I got us right here.
Yeah.
Right.
Give it a good whack, bro.
Dying to do that this whole time. I know, that's what I was thinking.
We took that thing out on a rowboat on the water.
Oh yeah? That's cool. That's cool. I bet you it sounded awesome out there.
Oh yeah.
It was really cool that it vibrated through the boat into the water, and
That's
you could see
awesome.
the vibrations of it. It was pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
I wish I would have been 10 feet higher for that video. It would have shown way better.
Pretty cool.
Good night, world. Or good morning, if you're like in Yugoslavia or something.